Hello, everyone. You're listening to Those Other Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory.
I'm Victoria.
And we are changing culture and bringing back traditional values. Okay, so today's weekly recap is basically the biggest thing that's happened this week. And I don't mean Bernie's memes. Ha ha ha. Okay. The inauguration. I was trying to pull it in and that was lame. Okay, but that's okay. So we're gonna be talking about President Biden's inauguration. So first thing we wanted to touch is what are some things that you saw different from President Biden's and President Trump's inauguration? Victoria, you can go first.
Well, for starters, mask.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the middle of it was in the middle of a pandemic, and the thing I didn't understand, he essentially ran on how unsafe the world is and how horrible this pandemic and this COVID is. Yeah, you have I know it's downsized based on what it's been, but still, you have a huge inauguration, outside, outdoors, spending taxpayers' money that we don't have.
And don't forget that picture that he took, and because they were celebrating, it was okay that they weren't wearing masks. Have you seen that?
I saw the picture where literally right after he signed the executive order that on every federal piece of property you have to have a mask on, that he was at the Lincoln Memorial without a mask.
Yeah, he took a family picture at Lincoln Memorial without a mask, and then someone at a the press briefing asked well, he was wearing a mask, what's that about? And he said, well, they were celebrating.
Can we talk real quick about how his press secretary looks like Abby from Scandal?
Okay, and oh my gosh, okay, in my head, I was like, she looks familiar. I don't know where I would know her from. I've never heard of this lady. And it's Abby from Scandal. Oh my goodness. Okay, wait. Remind me to put a side by side on the story.
Somebody already has it, and I don't remember where. I don't know if it was Future Female Leaders or Turning Point. I don't remember who.
Because that is oh, that's so crazy. Because in my head, I'm she looks so familiar. Where would I have known her from? I've never seen her before. Who is this woman? And it's Abby from Scandal. Well, I'm glad she got a job. That's good. That's
good. I'm glad Abby got a job. Yeah, but, yeah. So, well, between definitely having in the middle of the pandemic, the commentators, they were praising hallelujah, Christ has come. Thank the Lord we're having sanity back in the White House. You could tell they weren't commentating on and now here is Lady Gaga singing. They're like, oh my gosh, look at her outfit. She's wearing a brooch on it for unity. That's really, she's in the Hunger Games. Yeah. Like my Katniss Everdeen. But it was they added on more than they really needed to. It's yeah, here comes Lady Gaga in her unity costume. Here is so-and-so African-American pastor at so-and-so's church. It was a huge propaganda show, in my opinion.
100%. It felt very fake, and it felt and I mean, no matter what channel you watched it on, the commentators, like you said, were very biased. It was very much oh, thank God he's out of the White House. Finally, we're going to have some unity. Finally, we're going to have this back in the White House. Oh my gosh, look at Lady Gaga. She just looks amazing. Wow, she's standing up. And then Jennifer Lopez, she just did all of these things. They're just so great and amazing.
In Spanish. Yeah. She said a different language. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just frustrated. It was such a one big propaganda, which has been his whole administration.
Yeah.
You know, everyone up there was picked for a political reason.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Lady Gaga, J-Lo, the youngest woman who read the poem. I'm not saying they're not qualified, but we weren't focused on their qualifications. We were focused on them being female. And that's pretty much his whole administration has been focused on their sexuality, their gender, or their
race.
Yeah. It's not about their qualifications. And honestly, I feel that's why I did not get goosebumps when Kamala was inaugurated.
Yeah. No, I did not. Honestly, And what is hard, and you know, I always try to be is like honest and open on this podcast. I always really do want to share my heart. What it is hard as a woman, as a Black woman, as a woman who loves other women empowerment. As I always say, I was like, that can mean a lot. But anyway, who loves to empower and encourage other women, it felt wrong to not be excited for something so great, because I do think I do believe it's okay for women to be empowered. I don't necessarily think, well, you know, the Bible, there's things in the Bible when it comes to like church and stuff like that I don't necessarily agree with, but I don't think it's wrong to have a woman in a position of power. I don't think it's wrong to have I have a sweatshirt that says a woman's place is in the House and the Senate. I believe that full. I also believe if she wants to stay home, she should be able to stay home. Mm-hmm. So it feels weird to not be super excited, to not be like jumping around and dancing, but I couldn't. Like I didn't feel anything. I felt sadness because I'm like, first of all, I personally don't want her to be our first woman president, but you know,
not at all.
We don't know what's going to happen in these next 4 years with good old buddy Joe. So she could be our first woman president, but like I like the things that she stands for, how she got to where she is, that is what just is so disappointing to me. And I just think about how there's so many women who you know, there's some things going on in the liberty movement that I don't really want to get into right now, but there are some allegations of some things, and I just think about how like when there's women out there, for example, I don't want to use this term, but I'm just going to say it, like sleeping their way to the top or whatever. When there's women out there that are doing those things, it makes it harder for women who are trying really hard to get where they want to get,
to be taken seriously.
To be taken seriously. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So like that is what made me sad. What made me sad is like her strong stance on abortion. Like she is very abortion minded, and even like the things that she was saying about like human trafficking, like that is what made me sad. Like that is why like I just couldn't get excited for her.
Yeah, and we'll wrap this up. One more thing I will say, and like I know like I don't want people to think I didn't have like this moving feeling because I didn't vote for them. I got chill bumps watching President Obama get inaugurated, because to me that felt historical. To me, it felt like he earned it. People voted for him, and I feel like nobody voted for Kamala. I mean, people voted for Kamala, but they didn't vote for Joe and Kamala because she's female. You know, like I feel like she didn't earn it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's, but I feel like, I don't know. It was definitely a different feeling for me.
Yeah, I agree.
What did you think of Biden's unity speech? Sorry, unity. I'm putting quotes into that, guys. Unity speech.
The thing about, so unity is being thrown around the past, since November, because election was November 4th. And they finished counting November 8th. So the word unity has been thrown around since November 8th. And it feels disingenuous, except someone, I want to say it was either Allie or Allie Stuckey or my brother, one of them said something like, you know what, Joe Biden really does want unity for us. Now it's everybody else we're not sure about. And I thought about that. I think Joe Biden does want unity. I mean, I think that he just seems very passive to me. So I can see him being very much like, hey, y'all, let's just try to work this out. But Kamala, I don't necessarily see her as someone who wants unity. I see her as someone who, like a lot of other liberals that I've had the pleasure of interacting with, that are like, this is how it should be. You're evil and wrong for not thinking that way. I'm not going to compromise. How dare you, X, Y, and Z. So the unity speech, it didn't seem very unifying. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say, and hear me out, and this is my conspiracy theory, which is not a conspiracy theory. This is my theory. I think, I agree. I could see Biden wanting unity, but the establishment, the Democratic Party, does not, because having their base angry is what gets out volunteers. It's what gets high donations. It what gets their
it's what won Georgia.
Yeah, it's what gets their base elected.
Yeah, because that's a good point, Victoria.
Yeah, it's all about voting. Like, I could see Biden, because like what else does Biden have to lose? He's literally at the top. Like, there's nothing. I mean, he could live 15 more years, but it's not like he's focusing on the long term because he's reached his goal. What does he have to lose or gain by calling for unity? And I agree. The only thing, like, I really don't feel like his speech was like that unifying. Let me read you a quote that he said. He goes, "This is the time of testing. We face an attack on democracy and on truth. A raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systematic racism, a climate in crisis, America's role in the world. Any one of these would be enough to challenge us in profound ways. But the fact that we face them all at once, presenting this nation with the gravest of responsibilities." To me, when you're trying to create unity, aren't you essentially wanting just to forgive and move on? Mm-hmm. If you truly want unity, if he truly wants unity, why is he bringing up everything bad that Trump, in quotes, everything bad that Trump did during his term?
Very good
that
point.
They disagree with that. And so that's what I'm kind of like, I can kind of see, but I can also see, I also feel like he doesn't want unity.
I feel like, yeah, I see. I feel like what you said is true. And looking back at that article that we are reading from, and we'll leave it in the description. Can
I give a shout out real quick?
Yeah.
My friend Kylie wrote it. Kylie, hi. Miss you. Hope you're doing well in DC. So, yeah.
So yeah, Kylie wrote a great article, and in the article she said there was a difference between pre-elected and post-elected Biden and the unity stuff. And I think that goes to what you were saying about now he's elected, so he's establishment. So maybe that is why it feels so there is a difference looking at that quote. And also too, I think that the biggest, and I think I saw someone tweeted this. I'm on Twitter a lot, y'all. And I think one of the biggest things to do to produce unity would be to protect election integrity. Because I mean, what I think that there was fraud 100%. I don't know if we caught enough in time to have swayed the election, but I do know that something should have been done and that something was off. And I do know that those on the other side think it was the most secure election that we've ever had.
Well, my whole thing is when Trump got elected, you claim there's fraud. But when your guy gets elected with clear evidence of voter fraud, oh no, there's no voter fraud.
Right. So 100%. So I think they're wrong. There was definitely voter fraud, and I do think we need to work on election integrity. I think that is the first step to unity, because my concern, especially for this party, is people are not going to want to vote anymore because they're going to feel as if there's no reason to vote because the election was stolen, or they could steal an election. So I think that will be that's the real first step to unity. But if you can hear his speech, he doesn't say anything about that.
No,
all he
because he won.
Yeah,
he won. And I think, okay, if you really like, no election is 100%
right.
And if you truly, and you claim, like the left claims, okay, we need fair districts, fair elections, blah, blah, blah. We need to make sure elections are secured. If you truly care about that and not just about getting your party elected, you would create a commission to look into this. Yeah. There needs to be research done to see, okay, how much is actually, like, how many of our elections have actually been safe and secure? If you truly care about elections in the United States of America, we need to have a national voter database. Because, okay, you as a student, you were up in New Jersey. You could register to vote. Did you know this, Mal? You could register to vote up in New Jersey. Yes. You can register at your address, but then you could also register in North Carolina where your parents lived. There's no way in the database to know that from state to state. So something we see a lot in North Carolina and local party is a lot of out-of-state college students voting both in North Carolina and up in their home state.
I believe that because there's been times, oh, I know what it is. So how you jury duty is for your voter registration too. That's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
Why have I been given jury duty in North Carolina, Virginia, and New Jersey, all within the same like couple of months? And I was at the time I was living in I did it in New Jersey, and then a couple months later I had it in North Carolina, but I was still living in New Jersey. And then when I moved to Virginia, I got jury duty again. I've been given jury duty 3 times, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
But my whole point in saying is like, how could I have been given jury duty in North Carolina when I'm living in New Jersey? Like, I switched. So when I registered to vote for my when I first got to college, I registered to vote in North Carolina, but I think they registered me in New Jersey, so that's how I got in the New Jersey database. But then when the election happened, I was like, okay, no, I need to make sure I'm in North Carolina. So I triple checked to make sure everything was in North Carolina. By that time, around that time is when I got the one for New Jersey, and then a couple months later, got one for North Carolina. So, and also too, to get out of jury duty in different states is different as well.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. And I would just say, I think like Social Security is national. Like, why don't we have a universal voting database for starters? And then when you turn 18, you're automatically entered into the database. Why do we have to fill out forms? And this is where voter ID comes in. You just have to, wherever your driver's license, I think your driver's license to say your voter precinct on it. And then you just have to make sure it's tied to that. So you go and you show your driver's license to show you're actually in that precinct, and then they pull your stuff. If you moved, and you're supposed to change your driver's license anyway if you moved, then that kind of solves everything.
Yeah, I agree. And what I was looking for on my phone was just a post about voter integrity that I wanted to read. My friend Thomas Turner, I don't know if you listen, Thomas, but shout out to Thomas, great guy. He posted something too. If Republicans want to protect voting integrity, I hope to become an election day officer in your local. I hope you become an election day officer in your locality. So that's another thing I think we should all do. Like, if we're looking for actionable steps, like become an election day officer. Like, that's important too. Like, but that's something we have to do. Like, we should be relying on. Well, because we already know how the other side feels. So I don't think we should necessarily be relying on them for like unity. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a bunch of BS. Yeah. But dude, did you see Biden signed 17 executive orders on day one?
Yes.
Most of any president. And people said Trump was a tyrant.
Yes. And honestly, that is terrifying because, and what it makes me think that, especially within the first 100 days, all Biden is going to do is just reverse everything that Trump did.
He's already started. I mean, I know we're going to talk about this later on, but like, can we talk about how he said, I will not get rid of fracking if I'm elected president? Day one, bye-bye fracking, bye-bye 50,000 jobs, bye-bye billions of dollars in the American economy.
Yep. And that is terrifying. And I think that's what we saw that. We saw those of us that voted for Trump, especially those of us that voted for Trump and could admit that we didn't like his character or like certain things that he said. We saw that the alternative was much worse, that the alternative would lose jobs. The alternative would lead us even closer to socialism. And we saw that. So I think the positive is like, people are going to be like, oh, yikes. For example, those Christians who say that they are personally pro-life or that they are pro-life that voted for Biden, they can see he is, I wrote an article about it, and you guys should read it, that he is going to reverse like the Mexico City policies, and he's going to reverse the Hyde Amendment. And these are things that he's going to do within the first 100 days. So like, what is valuable to you that someone who is nice on the outside, but does essentially bad things is in office, or someone who unfortunately his character does not come off the greatest all the time, but he is making decisions that are best for the country, for people, for the world, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, so some of the things he did.
Well, I want to touch real quick. Here's the thing. If you did not vote for Trump because of his personality, let's have a little chat. Both him and Biden literally have the same personality. I was talking to someone and they go, I'm not voting for Trump because he sexually assaulted a few women. He has accusations against sexual assault. So did Joe Biden. Here's the difference between Trump and Biden. Trump owns up to the fact. He tells you what actually he's thinking, tells you what he's actually going to do. Biden, he puts on a mask. Yep. And I'm not just doing a pun because he signed that mask mandate. He's putting on a mask. He's telling you what you want to hear to get you votes. Yep. And then he does the complete 180. And you go, oh no, he did that. And then and ask every Democrat. And then when election times come around, they go and schmooze you up. Here's a lollipop. Here's some ice cream. Remember, vote for me. I'm going to promise you more ice cream. And then you vote for them, they get elected. No more ice cream in this country.
And that's exactly why so many people voted for Trump, because they wanted an outsider. Because the reality is, a lot of these, especially, and I want to make a distinction between like people who are career politicians in like the federal level and then your local level. Like people in your local level, you cannot convince me otherwise. They do not care about you. People in the federal level, I don't know.
Biden's been in DC for almost 50 years.
Longer than I've been alive. Like twice.
That's like twice as long.
Yeah, twice as long as I've been alive.
And you're telling me he's going to fix everything that and he hasn't done that in 50 years?
Yeah. And those are the other things that just like blew my mind when people were saying like the point you said about them both having sexual allegations. Like I personally like someone who is going to be upfront. For the most part, we knew what Trump was.
Yeah.
So we knew what he was going to do. We knew he was going to choose chaos every time. I'll say that. We didn't know the type of chaos.
Well, that was the thing that made me laugh so hard. The media, the left, oh my God, I can't believe Trump did that. And I go, hey, if you just listened to his campaign speeches.
Exactly.
Like he's literally, he had his to-do list in his campaign. He goes, check, build the wall. Check, do this. Check, do that.
He kept a lot of his promises.
Yes, promises made, promises kept.
Yeah, and I mean, what more could we ask for? I personally would prefer that than someone who blatantly lies to your face. And I mean, that is what a lot of what is going to be happening in the next 4 years. It's going to be a lot of, oh, I never said that, and then doing it anyway.
Yeah.
So one of the things, the top thing to me, which I find hilarious, because why is he calling it this, is the 100-day masking challenge, like it's a TikTok dance or something. I find that hilarious. Well, I don't find the act hilarious because that's ridiculous, but calling it a masking challenge, like, okay, everybody, let's go, we're doing a challenge. And
I think it's for hashtags or social media, to be honest.
I think it's for hashtags, and it's to almost manipulate you, to make you feel like you're doing something big, make you feel like you're doing something that's really going to help people. And am I saying that wearing masks is wrong? No. I'm saying that mandating and saying that you can't do anything without it is wrong. I'm saying that going outside at federal parks, outside, I'm saying that's wrong. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, the virus, that if you're outside, that makes no sense to wear a mask outside. That is what I'm saying is wrong. So another thing that he did immediately was he went back into the World Health Organization, which overturned one of Trump's executive orders.
He overturned.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be real quick. 8 out of the 17 executive orders day one all overturned everything Trump did, executive order wise.
Oh, 8 out of
8. I just counted it up.
Wow. Okay, that's wild. And so I have a friend who is very he's very in the middle. I guess he considers himself a classical liberal, and he's not crazy. He's
not a socialist liberal.
He's not a socialist liberal. He's definitely more conservative than anything. Pro-life, that's super important, and friendships. But anyway, so I was talking to him, and he is like super chill about this. He was like, yeah, you know, this guy's going to be bad. We're not going to, you know, some people are like overblowing how awful it's going to be, blah, blah, blah. He was saying all this stuff. And he said that what typically happens is every time a Republican president comes in after a Democratic president, they undo what the Democrat president did. And then every time a Democrat president comes in after a Republican president, they undo what the Republican president did. And it's just kind of like a flip-flop. And it's just going to keep flip-flopping because that's just how the two-party system is. And I thought of that, and I was like, you know, that's probably true. But what bothers me about that is, like, if you're spending all your time overturning everything that the previous president did, you're going to miss out on the things that need to be done.
Yeah.
That are like pressing. Like, I think we forget, and they forget too, that like, they serve us. Like, they are there to not cater, but they're there to, like, we elected you to make rules and do things for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's, I can't believe it's, you said 8 out of the 15.
Yep. All right, so let's go through them real quick. All right. Okay. So he overturns Trump's executive order on requiring non-citizens to be included in the census and appropriate congressional representatives proportional to those numbers. He only did that to get votes for Democrats.
And thus, I don't understand. I feel like, you know, not to be rude or anything, but like, if you're a citizen, you vote. If you're not a citizen, you don't vote. I don't.
Well, okay, I was in South Africa for a month. Are they going to count me as one of their citizens? I don't think so. So why are we counting non-citizens in the U.S.?
That, to me, that just seems like there's just so many things that, like, I feel like a normal, rational person would be like, okay, that doesn't make sense.
Well, they only did it to get, like, California. Like, those are your big, like, migrant states. You're only doing it so your migrant states will have more, like, voice on in Congress. But anywho, all right. So we mentioned the 100-day masking challenge hashtag. Let's see it. They created a COVID-19 response coordinator position that will report directly to the president. Essentially, it's giving Biden more control over what happens with the COVID response. We rejoined the World Health Organization. Extended the existing pause on student loan interest and payments until at least September 30th. Extends the existing nationwide on moratorium. I think that's the word.
Moratorium.
That one.
I don't know. Yeah.
On foreclosures and evictions. Rejoined the Paris Climate Accord that overturned Trump's executive order. He canceled the Keystone Pipeline, another Trump executive order. What are your thoughts on this going back to Paris Climate Accord? Do you have any?
I don't have any, like, strong thoughts. We can maybe have Bob on and talk about that again.
Yeah, because I need help to understand what's the benefit of being in it and what's the benefit of being out of it. Like, I need to understand, because I think a lot of it is, my understanding is why Trump pulled us out is because not, like, every country was doing it. Like, China's not in it. And so then they're able to emit all this gas. So, like, I think his thought is, if not everybody's doing it, then why are we doing it and hurting our businesses?
I think so too. I don't know enough about it to have, like, a strong opinion, yay or nay. I just know that the conservative opinion, the conservative consensus is that it's bad.
Yeah.
We can have Bob on, maybe.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
So this one I actually like, this executive order, required executive branch appointees to sign an ethics pledge that says they won't act on their own personal interests and they'll uphold independence of the Department of Justice, which means I think they can't lobby for 2 years, is what I think I saw. That makes sense to me.
I'm not mad at that. A broken clock is right twice a day. So
yeah. Prevents discrimination at the workplace on the basis of gender identity or sexual orientation. And this is another Trump executive. Go ahead.
I just want to say, so the problem with the gender identity and sexual orientation is that gosh, I'm trying to figure out how to say it how to articulate what I'm trying to think properly. I do want to have someone to come on to talk about some of that stuff.
I don't really get that.
So I know that the reason why it is not a good thing is because it diminishes women in a way, and we should have someone talk on it before I say. I just know that when you add gender identity, sexual orientation, the problem is those things are like your gender is, or your sex is what you're born with, so that's unchanging.
Well, let me read it real quick. Sorry, Mel. So this is a different executive order he filed. Okay. This one is mandating that any educational institution that receives federal funding must function as if biological males who claim to be females are the same, and vice versa. So essentially, and this actually went viral on Twitter, I think on the 21st.
Yeah, I think
it said hashtag Biden erased women.
Yeah.
And this is allowing men to play in women's sports. Like, you just killed women's sports.
Yep, 100%. And I definitely, so I definitely want to try to find someone to talk about that on here too, because the problem with the gender identity and stuff like that is that it's something that you choose. And I want to choose my words carefully because I don't want to discredit someone's experience, but your gender identity is not what your sex is permanent. Your gender identity can change. That's what I think I mean. So that is what's the problem with this. And there's a lot of other underlying things dealing with that too. There's a lot of other things. So we definitely can have someone on to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay, another one is he rescinds the 1776 commission and directs agencies to ensure racial equity, something Trump overturned from a Trump executive order. I'm not really sure why Trump did that one, to be honest.
I don't know either. I think that equity is a big word that people don't like. I'm not 100%. Yeah. I don't know enough about. Another thing we should have someone on to talk about. I don't know enough about it to say yay or nay.
Yeah. Biden lifts travel ban for passport holders from 7 Muslim majority countries. Another overturn from Trump. Undoes Trump's expansion of immigrant enforcement. Another one that he overturned. Stops construction of border wall by terminating national emergency declaration that funded it. Overturned another Trump executive order. My opinion on this one, we've already started. We've already used federal funds to start this.
Yeah.
Why not finish it?
Yeah.
Ensures DACA to protect undocumented people brought into this country as children. And finally, his 17th one, and my God, his fingers must be dying after this one. Directs OMB director to develop recommendations that would modernize regulatory review. Another one that overturned from a Trump executive order.
I don't understand.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, so we should have someone on to discuss that as well. Okay, so we have a lot of topics coming up in the future, everyone.
Yeah. And that, I will say, it seems like I don't really remember Trump overturning a lot of things that Obama did besides Obamacare. That's the only thing I can think of, to be honest.
I feel like he did overturn a lot. It just wasn't this quickly.
Okay.
He did overturn a few more things in Obamacare, but Obamacare definitely was the biggest one. And nothing really came out of that because I know a lot of people still have Obamacare.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not 100% sure how that
I think works. The Supreme Court, there's some Supreme Court case, but don't quote me on that. I will say, I was talking to my dad about the 17 executive orders, and he was saying that it seems like this is all from like the establishment far left. Because he goes, I really think Biden's a moderate. Like in his roots are moderate. These don't sound like him. These don't seem like him.
Yeah. I think he is very much, and like I said, I think so I think out of everybody that ran, at least on the Democrat side, the person who really wants to help and be honest was Bernie. I really do. I think that
I agree with that.
I don't agree with anything. I don't think anything that's ever come out of his mouth I've ever agreed with. I also didn't agree with his mask and that jacket or the mittens he wore that's everywhere either. Like, I do not agree with this man. But I think at least from what I've seen, he genuinely cares. And he's one of the few people, my brother said this, he's one of the few politicians that even after they lost, they still tried to help.
Yeah, here's the difference with Bernie than any other politician. Bernie has kept the same message since he's been in office.
That's true too.
Every other politician has changed. Like, look what happened when he ran in 2016. Everyone is saying you're crazy for creating free college. You're crazy for saying get rid of student loans. And now that's like and then they saw how well it polled. And now that's an issue for them.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So I think like Bernie cares the most, but I do think Joe did want like I said, I think he was moderate and he does want to compromise. I just don't think that the entire DNC does, and I do not think Kamala does.
Well, they don't have to anymore. They have the House and the Senate.
That's true too.
They don't have to compromise.
That's why Georgia was so important, y'all. But neither here nor there. I'm over it. I'm giving it to God. But yeah, so like you're right. And that's why 2022 is so important.
Yep.
And that's why we need to vote in these primaries. That is going to be a personal goal of mine, to figure out how to get people to vote, because once the primaries are so important. So if we can at least get control of the House during 2022, I think we can, maybe halt some of these crazy things that are going to be happening.
Yeah.
Also too, I would love to have someone come on and discuss executive orders, because I understand them, but at the same time, I'm just very curious, like, when do they go into effect? How long does it
immediately
take? Right. But like, how do you enforce some of these things? How is he going to enforce us to do this challenge?
Yeah. Caroline. Caroline.
Yeah. Oh, maybe Caroline. Like, so the day so he writes an executive order to lift the banning of the passport holders. So does that mean, little girl in Iraq can come and visit now? Like, I don't understand, like, how. And then
I think yes and no. Them? Yes, because of that mandate. No, because of a COVID travel ban.
Okay. Yes. But let's say it wasn't COVID, and like, who tells her? Like, is there something in the system that automatically like, I'm just curious of how all of this happens and all of it's enforced. I know theoretically the moment it's signed, it's supposed to go into law. You do whatever the executive order says, but I'm just curious, how does this, and then also too, how is a challenge like the 100-day mask challenge, how is that an executive order? You can't really enforce that. So there's just we definitely need to have someone on to talk more about that. Is there anything else we wanted to discuss?
No, I think that's the inauguration.
Okay.
The biggest propaganda day ever.
Yeah. The best thing to come out of that were those Biden memes. I mean, today, my friend, everybody has been sending me stuff, and keep sending me stuff if you want to. Oh my goodness, they've been so funny. My favorite one was the Cracker Barrel one. Have you seen that one?
Yes, that was hilarious. So and then I think I sent you one meme, and can you post this, please?
Yes.
It's a meme comparing Kamala and Jill's outfits to Anna and Elsa, because it's literally the exact same color.
Yes.
Oh, I LOL'd.
That's a funny one. Yes. I saw someone who was like, so the inauguration is kind of a fashion show. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, I certainly was like, oh, that's a cute outfit. Oh, she shouldn't have worn that. Man, like the whole time. And I will say, I don't remember who, but someone had a really nice pink coat. And I was like, taking notes. Where'd you get the pink coat? Everybody seemed to be, what is it, monochromatic. Everybody was like wearing their dress and their coat matched.
That one.
I don't know if it was on purpose, but I'm not gonna. I thought it looked great. You know,
they were saying how a lot of the women were wearing purple, and that was kind of because that's I guess the color unity in theory, because it's a mixture of red and blue.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, because they were noticing how like, okay, but like Kamala, Michelle, and one other person,
I think one of the daughters, maybe.
One of the daughters, maybe.
Or granddaughters. I don't know. But a lot of people, their dresses matched. Oh, my battery's almost dead. Sorry, y'all. Well, we need to wrap up anyway. A lot of people, their dresses match their
coats and dresses. Yeah. I do have to say, I do think Kamala's stepdaughter was definitely the best outfit. I think it was the most unique. And it wasn't monochromatic. I really don't care for monochromatic that much.
Really?
Unless it's a suit. Like, I don't know. I feel like it was just not... I don't know. I miss Melania's fashion.
Oh, I know. I was thinking that. I was like... And Ivanka. Oh, my goodness. The two of them, best dressed women we have ever had in the White House.
Yeah. And, like, I don't like comparing women's clothes, but I was not a fan of Dr. Jill's outfit at all.
Oh, me neither.
Like, it looked like something that was a hand-me-down from my great-grandmother.
Yeah, I don't mind comparing clothes. I just don't want to be like, and then her hair and her face, I don't want to compare like bodies.
No, I think she's a beautiful, smart woman. Yeah. But honey, you picked out your outfit.
Gosh. I know. I would have never.
No.
You know, once again, that pink coat, I still think about that pink coat. I thought that pink coat was so cute. One of the granddaughters when they were walking.
Oh,
yeah. But okay, well, that's fashion at the inauguration.
That's our inauguration episode, everyone.
Yes.
We'll be back in 4 years for the next one.
Yes. Hopefully of Nikki Haley.
Whoop, whoop.
That's our unofficial endorsement. We cannot endorse. We will not endorse, but
we can't endorse till after the primary.
Right. Nikki, we love
we're not
you.
Gonna endorse. Yeah, Nikki, if you ever want to come on, I'm in love.
Yeah.
Please come on.
We would love to have, if by some miracle you hear this, we would love to have you on. We would also love to work for you. That's just
definitely. I'll drop everything.
Oh, same. I will move. Whatever you need me to do. Okay. But anyway, so that was this episode. You guys, we are finishing up. I believe there's by the time you hear this, there'll be 2 more days left to order t-shirts for our human trafficking nonprofit. Make sure that you do that. Make sure you register for our virtual conference. We're really excited. The only way to get any of the giveaways is to register for the conference. Make sure you order some free lunch coffee. You heard our new ad. We're super excited to be partnering with them, and use our code Those Other Girls 10 to get 10% off. That's basically everything, right?
Yeah, I already had 4 cups of coffee today because free lunch is so good.
It is. So. No, seriously, it's really good. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I need to go work this off.
Yeah, so you guys should order some. All right, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.